Well, I'm very pleased to be joined by the 56th Speaker of the US House of Representatives, Mike Johnson, who joins us here on GB News. Mike, welcome to our channel.
Great to be with you.
And we cover a lot of American politics, but there are one or two things that we don't fully understand and realise. Now, you're Speaker of the lower house, but it's quite a political function as well.
It is.
You've got to help the government get legislation through effectively. And the Republicans have a majority of?
Just one now. Down to one. The margin is one. It's quite a challenge. Speaker of the House in our constitutional order is one of only three offices listed in the Constitution. So you have the President, the Vice President, and the Speaker of the House. So in our system, it's a big role. It's an important role. You run the legislative agenda, but you're also in charge of not just policy, but the politics as well. And so you got to ensure that your majority is maintained, that everyone gets elected across our broad country, and you have to raise the money to get that done. So all those things happen simultaneously, and it's a lot to keep us busy.
When you came in as Speaker in chaotic circumstances, we don't need to go into that, but how do you, the last two parliaments here have been big majorities, but there was a time during the Brexit years when votes were 3 votes this way, 4 votes that way. How do you maintain any sense of order? Because isn't the trouble that just a couple of your own members of your own party could get rid of you? How do you keep it together?
Well, a lot of prayer and patience, I say, is actually true. I have to work very closely with each of my colleagues. I have to know the dynamics of their districts and the people they represent, what their main priorities are. And as I often say, we'll never ask you to violate core principles, but you have to give up your preferences, because in a legislative body, that's the game. It's a team sport. So we do a very careful job of candidate recruitment. We try to get thoughtful, sensible people to want to come and govern in a conservative manner and lead the country forward. And I'm very pleased with the group. I genuinely love all my colleagues, even those who get frustrated sometimes. That's part of the process.
He's a diplomat, you can tell.
That's right.
Now, what the Brits don't understand, and you mentioned only 3 positions mentioned in the Constitution, but effectively, if something was to happen to the President, God forbid, and the Vice President, God forbid, you could be President of America this afternoon. That's right, isn't it?
It's true. It's never happened before. I don't expect it will happen now. What I try to do every day is focus on our job and our task. We have a lot to fix in America. In my view, and your view as a conservative, 4 years under the Biden administration were a disaster in terms of public policy for America. So we got a big mandate from the people in the 2024 election. President Trump got 75 million popular votes, a large number. We had our largest number, House Republicans, my party, in history. We got a mandate from the people to fix everything. So we had a very aggressive first year of the second Trump administration that we just wrapped up, an incredible record to run on. And we have our midterm elections coming up now in November. We've got to defy history to keep our majority, but I'm absolutely convinced that we will, because we have a lot to tell the people, that we've kept our promises and we'll continue to do that.
Because, historically in America, halfway through a presidency, the president loses control of the House.
Yes.
And then government gets a bit stalemated.
That's right. In fact, it's only happened about twice in 90 years that a sitting president has picked up seats for his party in that first 2-year cycle, the midterm election. But we can do it. We're the group that defies expectation and makes history.
We're all going to be watching, don't you worry.
Right.
Now, it's a big year. It's the 250th year of the Declaration of Independence.
Yes.
So it would be fair to say that our relationship between our two countries got off to a rocky start?
It did, but since then, and especially after World War II, we developed what we all refer to as the special relationship. And this partnership, this relationship between the UK and the US is critically important, not just for our countries, but of course, for the entire world. A strong America is good for everyone around the world. A strong UK is as well, and we've recognized that. We have this common ancestry and heritage and our principles and values.
You seem to really feel this.
I do. I think it's important, and that's one of the reasons that I'm so excited to be here right now. I'll be the first U.S. Speaker of the House to address Parliament. It's a great honor to me, and the idea that it falls on our 250th anniversary is truly historic, and we're grateful.
And is it Speaker Lindsay Hoyle that's invited you?
Yes, we've become fast friends. We meet annually at the G7 speakers meeting, which our colleagues from around the world come. And he is a great leader there and become a fast friend. So I'm honored to have been invited.
Well, it's terrific. Now, I know everything you're going to say in the next few minutes will be in a personal capacity, not on behalf.
That's our legal disclaimer here. Yes.
No. Well, that at least means you can speak freely.
That's right.
So just to begin with, I know you've got serious concerns about China and this new super embassy that we're on the verge of approving here in London. What are your concerns there?
Well, I've been clear. I don't want to meddle in the affairs of our friends here. Sure. You've got to make that decision. But to me, there's two different dynamics to it. There's the political side, which I'll leave to you all to address, but then there's the security side as well. And in America, we're constantly concerned about China, their aggression and what they do, for example, with the theft of intellectual property. I mean, just brazenly. And we know that they have intelligence efforts ongoing all the time. And it's not in our best interest. It's not in the UK's best interest. These are objective facts. And so the placement, we were hearing about the concern potentially about some of the fiber optics that are underground and all of that. I'm told, and we hear now, we've read by their intelligence services that is not as big of a concern as it might have seemed initially. But who knows? I just think we've got to be very guarded about China.
Just be watchful. Yeah. Now, one of the big rows that has sprung up, and I came to the House Judiciary Committee a few months ago, and I was there and cross-questioned for 3 hours, I think it was.
You did a fine job.
I mean, boy, they really go for it, don't they, up on Capitol Hill?
Yeah.
But the free speech debate is very, very real. There is an American perception, it seems to me, that somehow we're picking on Elon Musk, we are cracking down on free speech. Is this deeply felt within the Republican Party?
It is. It's one of our core principles. We believe in the free marketplace of ideas. My background is in constitutional law, and I used to actually litigate free speech cases, religious liberty cases in the courts, and of course in the court of public opinion. Look, our answer to offensive speech is not to censor and silence it, but to expand the free marketplace of ideas. The answer to disfavored speech is better speech, more speech. So as conservatives, that is our general philosophy, is that we don't want to just get in the business of government turning down the voices they disagree with, because it ultimately leads, in our view, to great harm. I mean, ultimately, let's be honest, it's the conservative viewpoints that are typically targeted by governments. The people who are freedom-minded and, the rugged individualists are the ones who keep government at bay.
But I mean, government ministers here are openly speculating about X being banned. Yeah. What would that do for our relationship? I think it would be a detriment to the people of Great Britain and to the UK. Elon Musk is a friend. I've gotten to know him well over the last couple of years. I think he's acknowledged that there are constant improvements that could be made to his platform, but I think banning it is the wrong solution. Yeah, he's not the easiest individual, is he?
He's a unique individual.
I've had a few ups and downs with him.
Yeah, we have. But, I mean, look, he and the president have made peace here in recent days, and they had been at odds a little bit. I thought it was important for those two titans to get back together because we don't need them at odds. And Elon is somebody who I respect and admire for what he's been able to achieve. And we can try to keep those relationships in a good place.
Yeah, they're a bit up and...
Using the internet without a VPN, a virtual private network, is a bit like taking to the road without car insurance. All it takes is one unlucky moment to cost you a lot of cash. This video's sponsor is Private Internet Access. They are the VPN to help keep you safe. Click the link in the description below to find out why over 30 million people have downloaded PIA to protect themselves online. A virtual private network is an app that hides your IP address and helps keep your data private. When you're browsing the internet at home, you give up a large amount of data to businesses, to shops, and indeed to social media giants too. Hackers have the ability to steal your personal data with ease, including sensitive information such as passwords, keystrokes, and even your personal photos. Private Internet Access helps protect your personal data by encrypting your internet connection to keep your data out of the hands of cyber criminals. And it's not just hackers either to be concerned about. Information can be censored too. When Canada passed their C-18 bill, social media giants decided to ban news content on their platforms. But PIA can protect your ability to consume the news and content you love. Private Internet Access is available for Windows users, Mac OS, Android, Linux, iOS, and you can use one PIA subscription to protect an unlimited amount of devices. And we've got a huge GB News discount for you too. Click the link in this video's description and you'll get a massive 83% off PIA. That's under £2 a month, the price of a coffee, and you'll get an extra 4 months completely free on top. Also, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee too. Visit piavpn.com/GB News to start protecting yourself digitally today?
Look, on the world stage, I thought taking out Maduro, great, enemy of the West, no question. I think the verbal support that President Trump has given to those in Iran looking to topple this appalling theocratic regime, I completely understand and support that. The trouble is, taking out the enemies of the West is one thing. Alienating other members of the West who've been your best allies is quite another. And by the way, I get it. I get it about Greenland. I get it about the ice caps melting. I get it that, the high north is a risk area. But let's be frank. Friends can disagree in private, and that's fine. And that's part of life, part of politics. But to have a US president threatening tariffs, unless we agree that he can take over Greenland by some means, without, it seems, even getting the consent of the people of Greenland. I mean, this is a very hostile act. There's no other way I can put it.
Yes, the president has a certain manner in which he goes about doing things, and sometimes it's for the effect, the public effect, the shock and awe that is a means to an end.
This is the take him seriously but not literally stuff.
You've heard that phrase, and that's right. We take him seriously, not always literally, and I think he's okay with that. Whereas in America, the far left media, they take him always literally and not seriously, and I think that's their mistake. I think what the president has in mind with Greenland is he understands the strategic significance of that, the increasing significance, as you said. We all get it.
I get it.
That's the point, is that I think he wants all of our allies to get it. We face what I believe to be an increasing threat from China, Russia, Iran, and that is a strategic position there, the Arctic is, and it's not adequately protected in the president's view. And it's no slight to anyone.
But there's nothing to stop. Okay, well, I get that. Yeah. There's nothing to stop American bases on Greenland. They're not going to stop you doing it.
Right.
I've listened to the arguments of Stephen Miller and others. Well, why should we? Why should we defend Greenland and not own it? But there is this principle of the self-determination of peoples.
Sure.
It's the very thing you're celebrating with
that's right.
With this 250th anniversary. And I'm just arguing that if Trump wanted a strong economic partnership with Greenland, and you could look at rare earth minerals and all the other things that might come from it, but to threaten to use force, physical force, or economic force against your allies to get your own way, I mean, this does threaten. This does threaten NATO.
Yes.
And it threatens, and by the way, many of these structures are imperfect, but basically NATO's been quite a good anchor. Yes, of course, the Europeans haven't paid enough, and Trump's done well to get them to pay more. This is the biggest fracture in our relationship between our two countries since Suez in 1956. This is serious. And you're here about to speak before Parliament. I mean, is there nothing that can be done here?
Well, I'm here to encourage our friends and calm the situation. Maybe it's providential that I happen to be here right now. This was not planned.
I think it's been rotten luck for you, actually, hasn't it?
Well, it depends on how you look at it. Look, I think we're going to get beyond this little rift. I don't think it's a threat to NATO or to this special relationship that we have in the long run. The president greatly values NATO, and in fact, to your point, he's done more for NATO than anyone in history. I mean, the fact that everyone has agreed to go to 5% of GDP as their commitment for this security concern is a very important development, and it would not have happened but for President Trump. I think he has deserved the Nobel Peace Prize. He's ended 7 or 8 conflicts and wars around the globe.
He seems very keen on that.
He does, and it's well earned. In fact, there's a number of persons of my colleagues, speakers from parliaments around the world, who will be nominating him jointly, I think, for the next Nobel Peace Prize. But this issue in Greenland, I think, should not be a disruption to all of that. I think we'll get past this. I do.
Well, let's hope we do get past it. Otherwise, it genuinely would be a rupture. And if he's so concerned about security, and you yourself talking about the growing threat from the Chinese Communist Party, let alone other aggressors that exist in the world, there's one thing I can't understand. Diego Garcia in the Chagos Islands, described to me by a very senior Republican as America's most important military base in the world outside the homeland. And there you are with Africa, the Middle East, India, strategically the most incredible place. For some extraordinary reason, the British government has listened to a non-binding judgment from a UN court and has decided we're going to give it to Mauritius, who never had sovereignty over it in the first place. We're going to pay for the privilege to do so. There is no protection under this treaty for the Chinese or others to get close to Diego Garcia, to start spying. And we're not just talking about aeroplanes here, we're talking submarines, we're talking nuclear capability. Yeah. I don't understand why America has not been more forthright in saying this is a bad idea.
It's a good question. I share your concern in general. It's obviously a very important location for us and for the UK. We recognize that. I don't know that the president has spoken directly to the issue or as forcefully enough, to your point, but I would assume that he shares the same concern as you and I do about that. I've spoken to him about this particular issue. I talk to him sometimes multiple times a day, but this one hasn't come up. Yeah. We've had a lot going on.
Well, I accept that. No, I completely accept that. Sure. And you've had so many priorities, but don't let this one go, because I'm genuinely worried. I also think in terms of the special relationship, us giving you the use of Diego Garcia is one of the most important things that we give you.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Well, look, it's been a long 250-year, well, longer than that, but 250-year history of the two nations. I think you're going to get a very good welcome here in London, despite the current rifts and the current difficulties. And look, I want to say, Mike, thank you coming in, being so diplomatic. But yeah, you've come at a very, very tricky time. Well done.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.